Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk for St. Patrick's Day, Wednesday the 17th of March. And apologies if I haven't included your stock today. We're sport for choice. There's hundreds of shares to look at, and you could probably do a Bulletin Board Heroes sweep every hour and still not run out of stocks to look at the moment. So happy days. Starting off with a stock which I did miss out on, and although I normally actually cover the initial moves of an IPO, I actually managed to miss out on this one, even though I wrote about it. Amte Power. Here we've got already had a gap to the upside. That was there at the beginning of the week, which is a bit of a telltale sign. Broke the initial resistance here, which was another telltale sign on the long side at £2.60. So the hourly close, this is the hourly chart, the hourly close above that was the buy signal there at around 260, to call it 270. Went sideways, finding new support at old resistance, and current situation is we've had a key reversal to the upside in the last hour. The target here up to £4, and if you weren't wondering how I've worked out where that line should be, it's taken me 35 years to be able to draw a line like that, so let's see if that works out. At this stage, only back below that last peak there at £2.90 to really delaying the idea of a target up to £4, hopefully by the end of this month. On to a stock which delivered some news today, Deepverge, and here I think I looked at the stock the week before last. I think there was a MACD buy signal. I think probably around that point there, at the beginning of the month. We've broken above the 50-day moving average at 31 pence. We were looking previously for a target as high as 45 pence at the top of that rising October trend channel. Managed to hit 42 today, so maybe we'll get to 45 over the next few days. What will be useful today is if we have an end-of-day close above 37.5 pence, which was the January peak for the shares. Above that, looking for 45 pence initially, hopefully by the end of this month, maybe even the end of this week. And if you're looking for the bigger picture target, that's probably up towards 55 or 60 pence, which is a line of resistance from December. Obviously, there's not much historical data here, but 60 pence best case scenario target, 45 pence initial target, and only back below the 50-day line at 31 pence, really delaying the upside scenario. But as we are in a rising trend channel, this is looking pretty firm. Stock where I'm upgrading the technical target is coming up here, Europa Oil Gas, and here we've got a nice break through the initial March resistance, 1.93 pence. End of day close above that, and we could be heading towards as high as 3.5 pence, which is the top of a rising trend channel from February last year. At the moment, the stop loss, I suppose the nearest you would have it would be trailing an end of day close back below the 50-day moving average, but not a bad risk reward there, risking around half a penny for another penny and a half. That might suit some people. Requested stock, which seems to be bang on the money in terms of timing, is coming up here now. Empyrean. Looked at the shares before. We've had one or two successful moves here. There was a falling wedge break. You see the trend line still there on the chart from the beginning of November. That worked well. Another falling wedge break now, breaking through the 4 pence level, and above that looking for a September resistance line projection target as high as 7 pence as soon as the end of next month. Nice bear trap, I suppose, we had there below 4 pence for the latter part of February and going into last week or this week. So a decent bear trap rebound there. Very good bullish divergence there as well, with the lower low for the share price down towards 3.5 pence, but the RSI actually rising, so that is a pretty strong signal there. We should get our 7 pence by the end of next month on that situation. Another stock which has been requested and reminds me of somebody who, a rather large investor, used to be on Twitter almost every day, but has taken a back seat now to count his money, presumably. Here we've got Ferrexpo, and here we've got a rising trend channel on the daily chart. That's been in place since September, when the chart refreshes, I hope, quite soon. We can see that while we're above the 50-day moving average at £3.26, we've got a target there as high as £4.50 at the top of the September channel. We're cautious, maybe wait for an end-of-day close back above the peak that we've had so far this month, around £3.65, but with all the near-term moving averages rising, modest and a nice RSI reading just in the upper 50s it looks as though Ferrexpo is ready to push higher. Stock which is also in focus today is Microsaic. Here we've got shares had a recent battle with the 25 pence zone, and it's been sort of a bit of a struggle to get through that. But looking at the moment, we can see that we need an end of day close through the 50-day line and through 25 pence to deliver a new leg to the upside at the top of a broadening triangle from January as high as 0.55 pence. But obviously, if you are cautious and you don't want to sit on dead money, wait for that weekly close or end of day close through 25 pence as the momentum trigger. It would also help, I suppose, if the RSI was back above neutral 50 versus 48 at the moment. Another requested stock is Predator, which was called up higher here when it was in single figures, but has managed to finally break out pretty comprehensively. We've got a rising trend channel there from the middle of January. That's heading towards 18 pence. And 18 pence is valid while we hold above the initial March resistance at 12 pence. So see if that particular scenario pans out at 18 pence, probably by the end of next month. A very popular stock is coming up next, Power Metals, and here we've got a situation where the shares have been in sort of pullback mode from the January peak, but it looks as though that period of consolidation is finally over. We've had a retest of that December support there, and we've also bounced off an uptrend line there from June, the red line there at 2 pence. At least while we're above the 2 pence area, looking for at the top of that broadening triangle as high as 4.5 pence. If you're cautious on the shares, you'd wait for an end of day or a weekly close above the 50-day moving average at 2.62 pence. MACD cross buy signal as well, so hopefully that instills a bit of confidence for power metals in the near term. Stock which seems to get lots of mentions on Twitter over the near term and may finally be coming good is Santos Energy. Here we've been bouncing off this uptrend line there from December. That's been at the 3 pence level and just probably now looking for an end of day close through the 50-day moving average, the blue line there, at around 3.45 pence. If we can get that sometime this week or on a weekly close basis, then the target here is up towards the top of the rising trend channel from December and the 200-day moving average at 4.7 pence by the end of May or perhaps sooner. Good to see the RSI now back above the neutral 50 after dancing either side of it over recent days. Stock which has been horrific in terms of the trajectory and the journey maybe for shareholders, unless you're a fundamental believer, is Cymac Atlantis. What's good here, what's cool here is the way that we've had a narrow bear trap from below that old August floor. That was at 12.25 pence. The recent low here at 10.63, so just taking out the weak hands, going into oversold territory as well and then snapping back. So while we're above 12.25, looking for a reasonable rebound, probably the favoured zone here would be at least to get back towards the initial March peak at 17.96 pence, maybe as soon as the end of next month. But let's see how quickly the shares manage to snap back, if they do, after that bear trap that they've delivered. Moving along to Thor Mining, and here you can see that there's also been a bear trap here from below the old 0.666 low from December. The low this month so far was at 0.65, so a narrow bear trap there, just taking out that low. Good bullish divergence there with a higher RSI floor there this month versus December as well. So guessing here that the shares will bounce off the floor of the rising one-year trend channel around the 0.7 pence area, but at least while we're above 0.65, looking for an improvement here. Initial target here, the 50-day moving average at 0.87 and the initial March resistance around 0.9. If we can clear through 0.9, then the top of the channel 1.6 maybe by the end of May for Thor Mining. Bit of a punchy call there, but we are in bull market conditions after all. Finishing off with Wildcat, and here, although the shares have been poo-pooed in some quarters, they've managed to hit the previous target here at the top of the rising trend channel. That was around 3.2, 3.3 pence. End of day close through 3.3, or if you're fussy, maybe up to above today's initial high at 3.5 pence, could give us a new leg to the upside and the top of that rising trend channel from February as high as 5.25 pence by the end of next month. So good to see the cynics blown out of the water. The positive in terms of the setup here was, or were, the two gaps that we have. We have one gap in January, one gap as yet unfilled last month, and unfilled gaps after test for support can be seen in the most bullish of situations, and this has so far fitted the bill. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.